Right then. I'm here on behalf of the presidency of the CELAC. It's the Economic Community of Latin America and the Caribbean, which expresses the intent to integrate the entire continent. It's a continent which is diverse, and it reaches the Rio Grande, which at the border with the United States. So you've got the United States of Mexico and the United States of America on that border. And you've got from Alaska to Patagonia. All those people are called Americans, or should be called Americans, but Americans only applies to one group of people. And I think today we should start the conversation by saying that we're in a time of transformation. There is a process going on in the world, and we don't really know how things are going to pan out. There's a huge division in Europe, it seems, and in NATO, they were looking at who would support or who is supporting Palestine and who is against the genocide. And so there are divisions on both sides. And then there are 15 against 17 in this, 15 in favor of Palestine and 17 against. Only one country would make the difference. Yet the instability that we see in taking these decisions, which is not the case in the UN, shows us that what kinds of ideas we would have here. We are in a world of instability. We're at the brink now, and things in the coming months and years could change substantially. We see what's happening in Europe. We see countries that have not wanted to change their position despite what their people think. It seems that also in the United States and in Europe, we're trying to see, where democracy can have a home. And I think that we're living in a time of change. We're talking about trade here. We need to think about where we can position these ideas. I've heard from my colleagues from Africa, President of the African Union. I'd invite President Gonçalves to build a CELAC Africa meeting. It could be in Brazil or somewhere in Latin America, maybe in Cabo Verde, which is the midpoint between our two continents, because we've never met in the South. We've never deepened our relationship. What about CELAC China in Beijing? We, in some months, on the 9th and 10th of November, we're going to have the EU-CELAC summit. It's the second one, and I'll be presiding. It's going to take place in a beautiful place in the Caribbean, Santa Marta, which was the first city that the Europeans built 500 years ago in the Americas. But the intention behind it led to 1 century of a war with the indigenous populations. And so the EU, CELAC, the European Latin American encounter was a violent one. How do we place that in the 21st century and this real reconstruction, and how we really can come together in a humane way to have real human encounters and relations. Trade is not the only way to do this. It's not even the main way. You need to have a human resolve to do this. I think if we look at the fundamental problems, and President von der Leyen talked about this, the fundamental problem with humanity is, looking at how this works through trade routes. Fiber optics, telecommunications, digitalization, and from there you get to artificial intelligence. That's a whole discussion. Europe wants to connect through fiber optics because satellites don't provide the necessary volume right now. Europe wants to connect with Latin America through fiber optics. Let me describe this project to you. So there is an agreement that will have this system cut through the Amazon. You know that it's the major lung capacity of the world. It's going to go under the Amazon River from Belém de Pará, where actually the COP30 is going to be taking place. And then it's going to reach our border, and if we extend it to Putumayo, Amazon River, but if you just look at the Putumayo River, you get to the Andes and also to the Pacific. That we could do ourselves, but then you get to Tumaco, which is a poorer place, people who were brought from Africa as slaves, and then on the Pacific side, you face China. And so it would be an interesting project in multiple phases. We have to think about this not just politically. If you want the heart of vitality of the world, which is the Amazon, if you would want to create this union of communication, this union of thought, and bring together knowledge and intellectuality through the Amazon to connect Europe, and then why not Africa, why not Asia, why not whatever, to the east. So you could get China, Japan, Australia, maybe even Russia on the eastern side of this connection. It would not go through North America, the United States. If the United States wants to isolate itself, they can decide to do that, or they can also decide to join humanity. But the reality today is that they want to isolate themselves, and they are carrying out military actions in the Caribbean, and we need to come together because there are missiles being deployed there, and there is a war of repression in North American cities with some targets being Latin Americans in the United States. But, we could get together, and this fiber optic project, which has already been carried out as far as the river is concerned, can be further connected through the ports and further connect Europe and Asia and also Australia, and then on the other side, Africa. So I just wanted to describe this project. There's another project which has to do with clean energy, fiber optics, clean energy. That's really the basis of the 21st century economies. I know that Africa has some similar systems, but in Latin America, in the south, there is 1.4 million megawatts of power through clean energy. So we have this potential. The United States has a real annual demand of 1.2 gigas. If we want to look at this in terms of money, you could it would be 500 billion euros, and so you can really counter the demand for fossil fuels in the United States. It would really go a long way in dealing with the climate crisis and energy crisis in the world. But what we're seeing is a collapse. What we're seeing is not necessarily a new colonization. This is a new joining of democracies and the acknowledgement that Europe has vis-à-vis Latin America and also Africa. The Greeks went to Rome. The word republic came to us from there, but the descendants of the Latin Americans, the Spanish and others from Portugal, did not export democracy, but they did export slavery and servitude. This is a time of doing things, extending a hand, building peace, and doing away with servitude and assassination, for example, assassination of children. And so there are investments that can also be incredibly profitable, like the ones that we've talked about. And so we've got fiber optics that could be intercontinental fiber optics and clean energy, which would suffice to counter the climate collapse. Thank you.